Indiana agriculture and ethanol are very closely aligned. Our roots, POET's roots, come from agriculture. POET was actually started from a small family farm in Minnesota back in 1985. So the government was paying farmers to let land sit idle because there just wasn't enough demand for the corn. So the Broyne family started an ethanol plant on their farm to keep their land in production. I can tell you, growing up on a family farm myself, farmers are very passionate about what they do, and leaving land sit idle because there's not enough use for the product that doesn't check the box of our passion. So ethanol was a way to solve the demand equation back in the 80s, and it's just grown ever since then. So ethanol companies and the ag industry are very closely aligned. They're one and the same. Corn is about a $6.5 billion business for the state alone, just raising the corn crop. Of that corn crop, 40,000 jobs are tied to ethanol production, either through production, through distribution, from the time that the corn comes in to the time that the fuel hits the market. And that accounts for $3 billion worth of household income. So huge numbers, big numbers for our state, big numbers for our state farmers. So right now we make about 1.4 billion gallons of ethanol a year in the state of Indiana. Now we only use about 310 million gallons. That number continues to grow as we get more fuel dispensaries and get more market share in front of consumers. But essentially, if we could use all 1.4 billion gallons here locally in the state of Indiana, that would just continue to have huge numbers for our corn crop. We're grinding 43% roughly of our corn crop into ethanol today. The sky is literally the limit, particularly as we start to look into the future around sustainability and more uses as ethanol starts to solve the world's carbon problems as well. So I view ethanol to the state of Indiana as a win-win-win. It's a win for the farmers because it's a huge demand stream that frankly 20 years ago didn't exist. We're now crushing somewhere north of 40% of the corn crop every single year. And 20 years ago, that demand did not exist. That's a win. It's a win for the 30,000 folks across the state that are either directly or indirectly involved in biofuel production. From the production to the distribution, all the things that go into production, all the things that go into distribution. 30,000 folks across the state, $3 billion in household income. That's a win. It's also a win as we get further into time and we start to realize the advantage of biofuels when we look at sustainability initiatives. We have the ability to clean up our atmosphere from the crops that we grow. And when you offset the petroleum that we've been burning for the last 100 years, ethanol is the only thing that's ever been able to compete head-to-head with gasoline. That is a win for our environment and frankly for our children.